Let's talk about what is trending in our dailies. With me, I have a copy of different papers. First things first, the Daily Nation. Now, on the front page of this paper, reality check. With initial strategy seemingly failing to tame runaway fuel costs, the President, Honorable William Ruto's administration has been forced to restore the compensation to oil dealers to cushion customers from higher pump prices, but to navigate the political backlash after condemnation of subsidies. Officials have another name for the intervention, even as traders are set to be squeezed even further. Now, this is in regards to what is happening at our pump areas. The fuel is the conversation of the day. Under pressure of rising pump prices, the government is forced to intervene, but insists that the relief is stabilization, not the subsidy official had discredited. The subsidy officials had discredited it. What is that all about? In matters concerning the economy, still on this particular area, CEOs downgrade their business outlook this quarter as pressure from new taxes and toxic politics dampens the optimism felt 3 months ago. For Mitumba traders, how has it affected them? Well, importers of second-hand clothing should brace for a 25% duty on imported garments as the government seeks to revive the textile industry and promote local products. The housing levy, also a concern, also featured on this particular paper here. KRA says that all regular cash allowances, including car and travel perks, will be factored in gross pay when calculating an employee's monthly deduction. And finally, concerning power, no respite for households and businesses facing a 1.7% increment in electricity bills after fuel energy charges rose to 4 shilling and 46 cents per unit from the 4 shilling and 2 cents that was there last month. That is concerning fuel. And it's on this point that I would like to engage my guest this morning. The clash between new policies and prevailing situation. Honorable Sosion, fuel is still an issue that we are grappling with as a country. Will there be an end to this particular problem?
Of course, there'll have to be an end. And the challenge of fuel is not only unique to Kenya. It's a global, and the measures that government has put in place to stabilize without taking the route of subsidies has worked for a while, and it will continue working. What you are seeing really is not subsidies. Subsidies is a different component altogether. That is stabilizing to ensure that the market access to fuel is stabilized, and that is an intervention measure from government. So I believe with time the fuel market prices will eventually stabilize. And remember, this is not always managed internally. It's a global. It's a global issue. And mitigating the high prices is key to containing the spiral effect in the cost of living in other goods. Yeah.
And I'm looking at what the papers are saying also. The government has rejected the characterization of Monday's pump fuel intervention as a subsidy.
It is not a subsidy.
Preferring to describe it as a compensation to oil markets.
It is not a subsidy. There's a big difference between subsidy and the funds that have been injected to stabilize.
All right, Mr. Chris, do you believe in the same?
I don't agree with Mr. Mayor and the government there, because you see, just only changing of the names, it's the same thing, because the government is using the same taxes.
Is it that are we getting the same results, the same work formula, but we are using different names?
We might not be getting the same impact, but we are using the same name, but different, the same thing, but different names. Because it's the same government, the same formula, the same approach. Because you still use the tax to do that.
Help me understand how. Why do you believe that it is just a change in the name?
Because subsidy, the way Mheshimiwa is saying, is the money you use. You are stabilizing on the importers, the oil importers. You are paying them so that what they give to the Kenyans is on a reduced price. So I don't think I think the government doesn't want just to accept, but the same thing, same concept.
I'm looking at what the EPRA Director General Daniel Kiptoo said concerning this particular intervention. He said that it will consume half of the funds currently available in the PDF. Is this going to have ripple effects now? Looking at how prices are in the country, should we brace ourselves for tough times? Still on you, Mr. Chris.
I think we are on for a tough time. Whichever way we go.
Could it be tougher?
Tougher. It is. We must pull up. We must tighten our belt. Where we are going is not good enough for Kenyans. The government ran away from what they were doing before in a more structured way. But we are in it. When you increase the taxes, that's what becomes.
But then, Honorable Sosion, why do you believe this is not a subsidy?
No, you've had the explanation from EPRA and even the sources of funding they're using. So really, it is not subsidy, and the government has stated very clearly that it's not going to subsidize consumption. And the intervention by EPRA is completely different. It is not subsidy. And government has not taken the route of subsidy, and there will be no subsidies. And however much you try to baptize, because you cannot create a distinction with what EPRA intervention that EPRA has taken to contain. The fact remains, government is not taking the route of subsidies. That route has not been opened.
But if EPRA Director General Daniel Kiptoo is quoted here in this particular paper as somebody who was unable to explain how this change in terminology came about.
No, there's no change in terminology.
Put into question even
the truth is, there's no change in terminology. It's you people who are trying to give it a change in terminology. There's no change in terminology, and EPRA is working within its mandate to contain and regulate the fuel prices. That's what it's done. You've not had Treasury saying it's releasing money to subsidize. That has not been done, and so trying to create some drama that the government has gone back to subsidy is not going to change the situation. And those are reserves within the ambit of EPRA to do that, and they've done it. And they will continue doing it. That is a mandate. Yeah.
Yes.
To contain the high fuel prices. That's a mandate.
All right.
But you are aware, Mheshimiwa, that even the resources that are used by EPRA is from our taxes. It's all from Treasury.
You've not had Treasury saying it has released money to do the same. And you've had the sources that EPRA has stated. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with EPRA performing its mandate to contain prices. But that does not mean government has announced the resumption of subsidies. You've not had the president, you've not had Treasury, so really you don't need to create a lot of stories about this and create gloom that the cost of living and things are going to be difficult. That is creating unnecessary tension. Economic challenges are there, they're ordinary, it doesn't spare anybody. But the containment measures of economic recovery remain on course. And Kenya Kwanza administration is not going to be deviated by the different emotional description that we are getting around the country. The government will continue focusing, protecting and ensuring that the cost of living is brought down. You've not checked You've not seen the front page of Nation, yeah? The front page of Nation. Look at the other end. It is also very important news that the general cost of living is coming down from statistics that we are receiving. A lot of food prices are coming down because of the impact of fertilizers. Don't look at one side and pick it from some corner inside the newspapers when there is a big front page story about the good news of reduction of the cost of living, particularly a lot of food commodities. It will never be that all goods available in the market will all come down. It will keep varying. Some will go up, others will go down. That's the reality of an economy. And an economy cannot be controlled artificially. It's controlled by the market forces, both intra forces within the country and the global interacting forces, and that's the truth. So you should be able to tell Kenyans here that there is good news. A lot of data has come out. The cost of living, food is now available at the lowest cost. It's important you do it rather than picking a story right inside in the middle of which is not even very significant.
All right, I want to take a short break, Mheshimiwa, and then we'll be back.